Triumph didn't give us the facts and the figures for the updated Tiger Sport before we rode it, but before swinging a leg over it, I do know a few choice nuggets, such as the fact that it's powered by the new 1050cc engine from the 2016 Speed Triple, which has 104 changes to it over the old one and is claimed to provide this bike with more torque and improved fuel economy. We weren't even told how much it costs, so had to wait until the end of the day to discover that it's £10,300 on the road. That makes it £551 more than the base model Kawasaki Versys 1000, which costs £9,749. It's also more expensive than the £9,799 Suzuki V-Strom 1000 Sport and the £8,149 Yamaha MT-09 Tracer, but it is cheaper than the Aprilia Capenord Rally, which costs £14,136. So for the price, the new Tiger Sport comes with traction control and riding modes. Elsewhere, there's a taller adjustable screen and a host of smaller changes like new mirrors and grippier pegs. Even though when I ride the bike, I don't know what Triumph's engineers have done to the engine, I'm sure that once I hand the keys back, they'll be telling me that the new 1050cc 3-cylinder motor doesn't have the same 140 horsepower it does when it's in the new Speed Triple. And I'm right, because the new Tiger Sport makes 126 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 78.1 pounds per foot at 9,475 RPM. But although the engine is detuned, what's on offer is all easily there for the taking. Triumph wants the new Tiger Sport to be the most versatile motorcycle going, and the beating heart of that philosophy is the engine, which is really versatile and flexible. It's happy to pull you along in a high gear or to be worked with the needle higher up the rev range, although the engine is at its most fun between sort of 6,000 and 9,000 RPM when opening the taps delivers a creamy and comprehensive glut of forward motion. I know it sounds cliched, but the 3-cylinder motor is endowed with a nice blend of sort of V-twin style grunt, but it's also happy to let me pretend it's got one additional cylinder thanks to the fact that it revs so freely and is rewarding to keep spinning in the high reaches of its rev range to deliver peak power before 10,000 RPM. Triumph says it will return 54 miles per gallon, and after a long day in the saddle, when I wasn't being that economical with the engine, it returned 45.9 miles per gallon. The tank holds 20 litres of motion potion. That's the same as the Suzuki V-Strom 1000 Sport. It's 2 litres more than the Yamaha MT-09 Tracer and 1 less than the Kawasaki Versys 1000. For the most part, it fuels really nicely, but it wasn't perfect though, and it had a slight flat spot at just over 5,000 RPM when the otherwise cleanly building power momentarily and almost imperceptibly paused for breath before resuming its surge. One of the things we knew about the Tiger Sport before Triumph officially presented us with more detailed information on the bike is that the engine is tempered by a set of new electronics. So along with the ABS present on the old model, it now has traction control and 3 ride modes: rain, road and sport. A button next to the clear LCD display switches between modes, but only when the throttle is shut and the clutch is pulled in. But why not just make it easier to do on the go by putting the switch on the bars? The throttle map changes between each mode, softening or sharpening up the response on the engine accordingly. The road and sport modes both get full power, while rain mode is capped to 100 horsepower and has more traction control. Traction control is the same in road and sport mode. Triumph calls it progressive. Coming out of the first, second and third gear corners on the route to the Western East could easily result in the traction control light flickering away on the dash with no perceptible loss of drive. Other times, I could feel it being more intrusive in cutting power for a second or two when I was leant over and opening the gas. The bike's nicely suspended with a set of adjustable Showa upside down forks and a Showa monoshock. It's the same stuff that's on the old bike. This is a sports tourer, so I'd expect it to be comfortable, and it definitely is. In fact, it's got a lovely, cushy, well-controlled ride. The suspension just quietly gets on with making the bike feel well connected to the road, and the result is a ride that feels sporty yet sumptuous, with the suspension calmly tracking the road surface and allowing the Pirelli Angel GT tyres to do their thing. Braking at the front is handled by a twin 4-piston radial mounted Nissin setup, biting onto 320mm floating discs. It's a really nice brake setup which never failed to deliver sharp bite, loads of power and good feel. They're well up to the job of reining in the engine and mastering the bike's claimed 218 kilogram dry weight. While I'm thinking about weights, It's difficult to compare bike weights, but to give you a flavour, curb weights for the Versys and Visordown 1000 are 250 kilograms and 228 kilograms respectively, both of which are bested by the MT-09 Tracer's 210 kilo wet weight. Handling wise, the Tiger Sport is effortless and compliant. It's easy to pitch into long, sweeping corners and nimble through town too. On the twistier stuff, it just felt light and easy to get stopped, turned and away from a corner. The riding experience offered by the Tiger Sport definitely manages to cover a few bases, and it's a bike that could be used for commuting, weekend blasts and crossing borders into lands unknown. And to that end, it's designed to be comfortable. It's designed to be a comfortable bike to spend time on. So it's got a comfortable seat and an upright but relaxed riding position. There's decent wind protection on offer too from the new adjustable screen. Triumph says it can be adjusted with one hand on the move, and that's true, but I found it took a bit of wiggling and pulling to raise the screen up, whereas getting it down was a lot easier. Cruise control is another feature designed to make the Tiger Sport more comfortable and easy to use, but I just couldn't get on with it. The switches to activate and set the cruise control are located on the right side of the handlebar, and while setting it was easy, so was accidentally turning it off when I moved my thumb back round the twist grip to firmly hold the bar once again, because nudging the throttle forward cancels the system. Because of this, I found it fussy to get set and keep running unless I was being really delicate with what I was doing with my right hand. My only other criticism of the new Tiger Sport is that the mirrors on my bike were consistently affected by vibrations. Whenever I looked in them to see who was running behind me, all I was able to see was a sort of fuzzy bike-shaped object. So, free from fatigue and back at the hotel after a day riding the 2016 Triumph Tiger Sport, we finally got given more key information on the bike, and Triumph also told us that its brief for this update was to give it the perfect versatility. Perhaps that's why they wanted us to ride it first, so we could discover how Triumph is built on the Tiger Sport's existing all-round qualities, and when the 2016 bike's versatility and capability is so evident across so much of the bike, it's hard not to notice, presentation or not.